anyway, Chris, and at least one other person has told me this. And here's the thing about Nate Ivey. Nathan Ivey is very, very, very intelligent, very, very, very intuitive. So I know when somebody's trying to play me, and I know when people are trying to be authentic. And initially, Chris came across as somebody who was real, 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 real cool. And when Chris Smitherman fell out with the radio station I was involved with, essentially, I guess he kind of fell out with me on his point. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'm too damn busy to really care about what another grown man think about me or what I'm doing and what I'm saying. And there's been a lot of grown men who, for whatever reason, have cared about that. I don't really understand it because I don't really give a damn. So the relationship didn't really mean a whole lot. I mean, it was cool and all, but, I'm about substance. I'm about realness. So it didn't really surprise me to that point when I would be out and see Chris, and all of a sudden he was acting completely brand new. And, in keeping with who I am, I played it straight the same way. I'm just that kind of dude. If you come at me a certain way, I'll come back with you the same way. I'm just kind of like that. And I've been told with some other folks that he was kind of doing them the same way. And I don't really give a damn. My point is that Christopher Smitherman, I think, is a very, very, very smart man. And he is going to play the hand that is dealt for him, and he's dealt for himself. And so now it appears to me that Cincinnati City Councilman Christopher Smitherman has sort of changed where his base is, in my opinion. I'm talking about the kind of media that he connects with and the kind of people that I hear, openly supporting him and talking about him. That seems to have changed a little bit. Now, I think he's still got a whole lot of core supporters in the black community. It is what it is. And, hey, that's your opinion. But I think that he's lost some. He's certainly lost some. Certainly lost some. But, it's just so funny, man. Like I told you, there's a whole backstory to that Christopher Smitherman thing at the former radio station I was on, Dubose. It's just not my story to tell. And I have tried to, over the years, many times, and I've told this person, you should write that story out so people know how that really went down. And you're not going to believe it. It's absolutely, it's amazing. I put it that way. Ansley writes in DJ Khaled voice, congratulations, you played yourself, Wendy. Yes, she did. Crystal writes, they're protesting in London, too. Right, in London? Nate, I wonder why we haven't heard anything about this young man's family. I'm sure they are mourning and hurting because of what happened to their loved one. It's probably because they can't find anything negative about the family, yeah? That's a very good point. Angela writes, Smitherman needs to be awarded a bronze Gilligan sailor cap. That dude is a mess. That dude is a mess, but the question is, will people in Cincinnati vote for him again on city council? That's the question. He's gone a long way to brand himself as the pro-police officer, councilman. He's anti, the parts of the black community that won't stop the anti-snitching. He's pro-police now and fiscally conservative. That's what he appears to me, in my opinion. So will those new allegiances connect with Christopher Smitherman next year? We got a little bit over a year now for these city council elections. That's the big thing. Secondly, if you remember back to the old city council elections, there was a media campaign which was hilarious as hell. And what I can tell you is that my colleagues and I thought it was quite hilarious. It was hilarious. And there were some promotions that were ran against Christopher Smitherman. Just classic stuff, man. Classic stuff. And I know that quite recently there have been some conclusions made that perhaps there were some improprieties done by the people who put forward that. I'm not talking about the radio station. I'm talking about the folks who were behind the actual media campaign. And so what will be interesting is two things. One, as we get closer to city council elections, are the same anti-Christopher Smitherman forces going to do it again? That's number one, because I want to see. And that would be quite interesting to see if it's going to have an impact. Because, what was it, Christopher Smitherman came in, fifth, sixth, something like that, fourth maybe? I don't know. Maybe it dropped him a little bit. And maybe it didn't. I don't know. And then secondly, now we've had 4 years of the new Christopher Smitherman, okay? This is not the same Christopher Smitherman that once told the former police chief that I'm your boss. Remember that? That was magical. That was beautiful. And that's not the same guy, okay, that we have today. And the question will be is, will Cincinnati reelect him? That's the question. I don't know. If I had to bet on it, I have to say yes, just based upon what we've seen. Wanda writes, it's truly sad we march for black on white, but not march for black on black killings. We make a difference if thousands of people march from black on black killings. I think we will make some change. I didn't go to the march because some of my friends' children has died, and we have had no march, just RIP shirts. It's truly hurtful. I feel you, Wanda. So Wanda's saying, listen, we need to have thousands of people turn out when somebody's shot and it's black on black crime. Number one, I don't like the term black on black crime because it doesn't really accurately define what happened. And I think it oversimplifies what would happen. Okay? And so what I mean is that to solve black on black crime, let's just use that for a while. And again, I hate that term, but let's use that term for the purposes of my point. Solving black on black crime is going to be much deeper and much more involved than trying to get black people to stop being violent. And that's the one major reason why black on black, that term just irritates the hell out of me, because it oversimplifies the problem and then it obscures, in my opinion, what the solution is going to be with this oversimplification. Okay? So people who live in similar neighborhoods are more likely to fall victim to people that live in those neighborhoods. If you are white in this country, you are more likely to be a victim of crime by somebody that looks just like you. Okay, you're more likely to be murdered by somebody who looks just like you. That's how it is for all of us. That's how it is for all of us. Here's the other thing I would say, is that would be beautiful to find if every time somebody lost their life, thousands of people would showed up at a Washington Park, or we would do more than just RIP t-shirts, which I happen to like, actually. I'm with you on that, Wanda, 100%. But let's not act like that there aren't those protests. I mean, when there are shootings in the streets, in the cities, I see people marching. It may not be thousands. It may only be dozens. But there are people in the community that when people get killed, when black people are killing black people in this city, they raise their voices. Sometimes it's family members. Sometimes it's some of these organizations that are very, very grassroots. So I give them props, but I understand what you're saying. Terrence T-Bone Walker's in the chop shop. People was wondering if Wendell is a man or woman. Put that big foot in that mouth. Kush writes, Chris is going to run for mayor one day. Chris who? Christopher Smitherman is going to run? As what, an independent? Listen, if that's what he decides to do, I'd like to see it. I want to see that process. Will Christopher Smitherman run for mayor coming up with the next term? I don't know. He seems like he's got a good situation going on right now. Like, he's got a good relationship with the mayor. He's the chairman of Law and Public Safety, doing his small business thing. Hey, seems like everything's going right. Why mess that up by challenging the mayor? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Cruther writes, Chris would never get my vote. Angela writes, Smitherman's laying the foundation. Yes, he is. Angela writes, LOL, yeah. Lift every voice and sing. That was hilarious. You have no idea how much laughter that I got out of that, and some of my colleagues did behind the scenes. That was hilarious. Adele writes, no, he's not. He's now the yes-a boss, LOL. Cruther writes, whites don't march for white on white crime. Good point. She's right. Angela writes, that's because when somebody black is killed, it's like we've been indebted. Okay, black on black crime. And see, that's the other reason why I don't like that term, because it indebts me. Now, I'm indebted as a black man to do something about it. And I'm not out here shooting anybody. I'm not rolling on golden D's, riding on fofos high as hell. Okay, I'm a family man trying to move the community forward. Why do I have to be responsible? Because some simpleton whose mom and dad didn't take care of them right did something wrong. I didn't tell them to do it. So that's how I feel about it. That's how white people feel about it. When there's an instance of white on white crime, the white churches are not all taking it personally responsible. They may speak about it, but they move on. Why? That was that Negro over there, not us. Deanna writes, I don't like that term either, Nathan. I watched Snapped, and about 90%, 98% of the people on that show are white who have killed a white person. Yeah. And if you watch that show, those people are being killed, I think, for some different reasons. I mean, at the core of it, it's all the same, quite honestly. But let's just say I've watched that show Snapped, and that, matter of fact, I watched the whole season of Snapped because it was just drew me into it. But you got people being killed for insurance money. You got people getting, I seen a young man in college. His parents were kind of wealthy. They had a couple $1 million. And he basically was in college, full ride. Mom and dad living good. Sister, I think he had a sister as well. Everybody's doing well. And he paid his college roommate to kill his mother, father, and sister so he can get the insurance money. That's a different level of greed. When you take out your parents for their money and your sis, he killed his sister because if she would have been alive, he would have had to split it 50-50 with her. So, right, it's crazy out here. Terrence writes, Criss Cross has sold us out. What I'm going to tell you, man, is there's a lot of people. There are people who act like they pro-black and they're not, okay? Watch yourselves out there. And Terrence, you know what I'm talking about. Rhonda writes, but it's not Black Lives Matter. That's the point. A lot of people, we don't support Black Lives Matter. Where are they when the killings of the youth? Nowhere. But wait until it's a black and white cop killing Black Lives Matter, go support. Yeah, but Wanda, you're being unfair. I believe that that's an unfair thing that people are trying to do to Black Lives Matter. It's like, well, you said Black Lives Matter, so I want you to live up to your statement. You said Black Lives Matter, then show me Black Lives Matter even when it comes to a black person that's killed by another black person. I get it. That's like a word play. It's like a play on words. However, listen, you got people out there that are organizations that support treatment for and finding a cure for particular parts of cancer. Okay? Because that's what the people in that organization have been moved to do. Should we now go to those people and say, well, wait a minute, there's all types of different type of cancers out here. I want you to focus on this type of cancer too. No. Black Lives Matter was set up specifically to deal with what we've seen in terms of police brutality. Black people being brutalized during what should be routine traffic stops, routine interaction with police officers. And that's enough. They should not have to now take on the mantle of dealing with black on black crime just because their name is Black Lives Matter. I think that's unfair. And I think that's the way the organization can spread themselves too thin, trying to deal with too much. I think they should keep the focus. If somebody else wants to start an organization that focuses on black crime, then they should do that. Miss D writes, marching don't fix black on black crime, but better parenting might. I know that's right. Amen on that. When Terrence writes, Wanda, get involved with the mothers of murdered children. Absolutely. Truther writes, yes, better parenting, better education, better jobs and wages. Good morning, James. He writes, Black Lives Matter mission statement is not to march for every killing, but the focus is on police killing people. Absolutely. Rhonda writes, the difference is when a black kills a black, that person is brought to justice in most cases. Police are not brought to justice. Excellent point, Rhonda. Excellent point. it's not just that police officers are killing unarmed black people.